Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. Welcome to, it's really a tremendous Tuesday every time I have you on, Jessica. It's so fun. I love the stuff you get up to. It's amazing. So welcome back everybody. Yes, I know I've also been getting withdrawal symptoms, and welcome to the usual suspects in the chat. So cool to have you guys and girls here. And again, obviously with Jessica, and you've just had some bush shenanigans this weekend. Anyway, welcome. How are you doing, hon?
Thank you. I'm doing excellent. I came in from a DOGMAN hunt, actually. I was out in the woods, deep into the woods of Alabama, here in the southeastern U.S. And I was with a group of friends, of some guys who are cryptid researchers too. And we went on a DOGMAN hunt. Looking for DOGMAN, and it was actually just last week out in the woods. We hiked in, and I survived. I'm here. I have to tell about it, but it was really fun. We had a good time.
Listen, it sure is fun. For that reason, if that would be one of the main reasons, I'm definitely going to learn how to teleport, because it's just way too much fun. I want to be crawling around the bushes there in Alabama and seeing what the heck footprints and everything is. It just seems it's like it's amazing. But we know these things exist, right? There's more and more evidence that is pointing in that direction, that we are definitely not the only species on this planet or in the entire multiverse. So I think it's about time we got used to seeing our cousins.
Yeah. I've been going out in the woods doing field research since 2011. And I can tell you, these things are real. Okay,
yeah.
Bigfoot's real. We ended up having Bigfoot activity out there when we were out in the field. So I'm not sure if we had DOGMAN. We did have some things that were encircling the camp. We think it was juvenile Bigfoots, actually. And that was kind of my suspicion going in, that we were going to be surrounded or have activity with Bigfoots, and hoping for DOGMAN. Okay, I was hoping for a DOGMAN experience. But we had some strange aerial phenomenon going on. I saw a gigantic orb, a big orb, when I was looking through the night vision. And then we had some whoops, and where the sound of the whoops were, the next morning, we found one really good footprint right outside of our camp. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff. I'm not gonna say I was disappointed. Okay. It was hot out there. Gosh, it was hot. And we had hiked in a couple of miles, several miles. I don't know, it was a lot. And with only what we had on our backs. So we had backpacks. There were 5 of us. And we set up camp. I slept in a hammock. Okay, we mostly slept in hammocks out there. And you're pretty much vulnerable. Okay, you're pretty vulnerable out there. But of course, we all were well protected, if you know what I mean. And we were expecting anything. So we were prepared for whatever came at us, but yeah, it was fun. It ended up being so hot out there that we ended up cutting the trip one night short, so we didn't see the entire time because it was too hot.
Yeah, I would imagine it's pretty dense in the forests and things as well, so very humid. So tell us about the activity that you saw. Okay, but I want to ask you, when you go on on these little outings, excursions, if you will, so what do you do? Is it would it be like a normal camping trip? You take gear for a camping trip. How do you protect yourself in case you come across a DOGMAN or a Bigfoot?
Firepower. I'm just kidding. Okay, I know that sounds terrible, but I've never gone out there with the intention of harming anything. Okay, but we're going out there so far deep into these woods that there are snakes, there are cats, big cats, we have bears, there's all sorts of stuff. Cougars are pretty sneaky. As a matter of fact, we have wild boars out there, wild hogs, all sorts of stuff. So we have to be really careful about that. But it is like going camping. When I first started doing field research, I worked in government. I worked for the state down here in Georgia. And I didn't tell anybody that I was a Bigfoot field researcher. I told people I was close to, but I would just say I was going camping. you know, whenever I would go out and do a research weekend or something, or go out with my team, I just said I was going camping because it's easier than explaining to people that I'm chasing Bigfoot. Okay, so, but yeah, it's just like camping. I like to call this, what we did this past week, like bivouacking. It's like where we go out and we each take like a 1-person tent or a hammock set up, and it's just like hiking, backpack camping is what we call it, backpack camping. And we all had on our backpacks we loaded them down as light as we could, but they were still heavy, and hiked us deep into the woods that we could go. Actually, we went because two of the guys that were with us had a terrifying experience the month before or earlier that month in that exact same location. So the plan was to go where they had this experience and camp out in that exact same spot.
What was the experience that was so hectic?
Well, they had gone camping. Okay, it was Brian, one of the guys, and his dad, and I think it's his nephew. Okay, and who's younger, young man. Okay, well, everybody's young, right? But he's a lot younger, and so they were going to go hike in to this forest, and they were going to just go camping. Now, Brian had told me before he went that he was scouting for new spots, because I've gone cryptid hunting with him before, and he was like, well, you know, I'm going to go check the spot out. I'll let you know how it goes, if there's any activity there. And so he and I and some the other guys, I had joined their team for a skinwalker hunt before. We had actually gone up to investigate a property up in Tennessee, a place called Whitleyville, Tennessee, where a woman and her husband had just bought a house. It was a cabin on the side of a mountain with 500, I think it was like 500 acres of land around it. But this cave was right in her backyard, right beside her back door, about 30 feet from her back door, there was a cave entrance. And then if you went down a little bit further, there was a huge cave entrance. And this cave was creepy. And after doing some research on it and talking to the locals, people that lived right there with her beside their house, they found out that land had been owned by the Choctaw Indians. And there's a story, a legend, that a medicine man banished several skinwalkers into that cave. And that did not sit well with her, because they had been having activity at her house where her chickens were going missing. They had chickens in a chicken coop. Those were her pets. Okay. And whenever she'd wake up in the morning, sometimes a chicken would be missing, but the cage would still be closed. So something was and there, at one point there was a stick stuck in the cave. I mean, not in the cave, in the chicken coop. Like something had taken a stick and poked into the chicken coop to shoo the chickens to the front so they could take one and open the door and shut it back.
One? Do they only take one? Or do they like take a lot?
They took it one at a time. It was always one at a time. And there was no sign of an animal attacking any of the chickens. There were simply feathers everywhere. So it only left feathers. And then there was a trail of feathers going into the cave. So, and she sent us a picture of one footprint, a barefoot footprint, right beside the chicken coop that showed up. So it looked like human or a small Bigfoot is what it looked like. Okay, but however, they had set cameras up around the property, and they were picking up what looked like Bigfoot activity, DOGMAN activity, ghost orbs. There was everything out there. And so we got a team together, and I met some of the guys up there, my buddy Drew and his crew. They're called themselves the Cryptid Warfare Operators. Okay. And so we went up there with them. We did a full-out investigation. At night, Farrah's house was getting hit by something. Something was slapping her house at night. And there were cameras set up everywhere, but those cameras would be turned in a different direction from the chicken coop in the mornings whenever they would go to bed. So they weren't really seeing exactly what was taking her chickens, because it kept moving the cameras, which shows intelligence.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say that's pretty smart. I mean, we're not looking at an imbecile species. Then, I mean, these things know that how to get away undetected. That's incredible, actually.
Yes. Well, so there were different ideas as to what this could be, because it could either be like, we were thinking it could be a Bigfoot. We were told that this was a skinwalker cave. Okay. So I actually had to do a bunch of research. We all did research on skinwalkers. We'll call them S walkers. I'm not supposed to say that word too much. Okay. So S walkers. I actually did some consulting with a very good friend of mine, who a Native American medicine man. He advised me on what to do with in case we did encounter the S walkers. Okay, and he asked me not to disclose everything that he told me, except for with the guys that I was going to be there with. But it involved something similar to hunting vampires, kind of. Some of the same steps you would take if you were going to go hunt a vampire. Okay. So
Okay, I've never even heard of hunting vampires. Who hunts vampires? Is this something that happens? Is this normal?
I mean, some people do. There's a lot of vampires around here in the United States. There's like vampire cults and all sorts of stuff. Now, those are humans that but I think we have a lot of vampires out here. Okay. A lot of stories of vampires.
How do they hunt vampires then? How do they hunt them? What do they do?
Well, I've never hunted a vampire, so I don't know, but I can tell you what we had to do for like taking precautions in case we were to encounter it, because we were going to be investigating a cave. Okay. Not only this property, all the property there, we were actually going to be going inside the cave to go see what was down in there, which is very dangerous, very dangerous. And so if we were to come face to face with something in that cave, we had to know how to protect ourselves.
Sure.
But it involves stuff, let's just say, without getting into detail, like blessing your bullets and stuff like that. If you have a weapon on you,
silver bullets,
holy water,
silver bullets or copper bullets or something like that. Isn't that something?
Yeah, they need to be like anointed, blessed, and things like that too. I mean, we're not only doing like physical. I'm not going to say warfare. I don't call it warfare because only in case something tries to attack us, we're not going to hurt anything. Okay.
I agree.
But it's spiritual. Okay. It's spiritual. A lot of the stuff that we're dealing with is spiritual.
Yeah.
In addition to 3D. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow. Yeah, so we did that investigation, and we didn't find any kind of, we didn't even find tracks inside, like footprints inside this cave, which was odd because you could see where the chickens had been taken into the cave, but there were no footprints and no track lines. And the whole bottom of that cave was pure mud. So there should have been footprints in there, okay, which told us something was climbing on the walls. Okay, something was climbing on the walls, and if it was going in there, it found a cavern or something, and it was just weird. It was just weird.
But can skinwalkers climb on walls?
Oh, I guess, yeah. I would assume so. Yeah.
That sounds really weird.
It's really odd, right? So we've got reptilians. You know, they say reptilians live in caves. We also had a case where, well, the guys I went into the cave, but it did not feel safe at all once we got way down kind of in there, because the mud was so thick on the ground. Our feet were getting stuck in the mud, and we all knew. I mean, there was probably eight or nine of us. And as we got deeper and deeper in that cave, if something were to come at us from the other end, we couldn't get out of there fast enough because our feet were stuck in the mud so bad. So I went and sat in the front of the cave for a while. I was keeping watching the mouth of the cave. I didn't want to, I'm just not as adventurous when it comes to that. And those guys are actually cave divers and stuff. Like, they love doing cave investigations, and I don't. So I protected everybody from the rear. Okay, that day after we got down in there. But they say don't ever whistle when we're in a cave, when you're out in the woods at night, and unless you want to stir something up. And so guess what the guys did? They whistled down in that cave. And they actually have a video of what looks like a pale crawler peeking its head around the corner. of the cave while they were in there.
What's pale
Crawler.
crawler? What is that?
Pale crawlers have been showing up a lot on videos lately. I have a good friend of mine on my team who has a video of a pale crawler, is what we call them, in his backyard. Okay, like by his driveway. Pale crawlers are just these, they look like they're white. They're like white, pasty, long arm, long legged humanoids. Inhumanoids is what we can call those. We're not exactly sure what they are. Are they extraterrestrials? Are they crypto-terrestrials? Are they from here? Are they walking out of portals? I don't know, but it's just like a tall, lanky humanoid that's all white, bald head, no hair.
What's it made from? Like sticky stuff.
Yeah, they walk on all fours sometimes. A lot of times when you see a video of them, people get on their outdoor cameras, they're walking on their hands and on their feet. So it's creepy.
Do they have a body like a human? Do they have like arms and legs and stuff like a human?
Yes, they do, but they're longer and they're skinny. So yeah, look up pale crawlers online, y'all. I wish I had a picture to show y'all today, but yeah, I've done several shows on pale crawlers because we're just not exactly sure what they are, but they do live in caves, from what I understand.
So are they, in your experience, would they be something that is more positive, so they're non-harmful, or are they kind of creepy and do they want to like suck your blood or something?
Well, I haven't heard of one attacking anyone yet, but they're creepy, and I don't want to come face to face with one in a cave where I can't run when my feet are stuck in the mud.
Yeah. I mean, I've got all anxious just at the thought of the idea. My heart skipped a beat there. Yeah,
I know, right? Listen, I do all this for fun, okay? So this is what I do. You can only imagine. You know, I'm out there doing. We're whistling for cryptids to come and show themselves at us at night and stuff.
That's so cool, though. Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So we didn't have any. We didn't have any skinwalkers that came out, or S-walkers, and we didn't have a lot of Bigfoot activity. We had a wonderful, really cool adventure, okay, and we did have some weird stuff happen, but I had investigated that cave with these guys in that property last year. So we got up again and said, you know, our buddy had gone out there and camped at this place in Alabama. You know, we don't ever give our locations away when we're doing our actual research, okay, because we don't want that area contaminated. You know, if I'm talking about it on air and online, there are lots of people who live around these areas, you know, where I investigate, and we just don't want to contaminate the area as in alert people to us being there so they can go and try to mess with us and stuff. Okay. So that's, so we didn't say about when I was going or where we were going. But he said, you know, that he and his dad, I think it was his nephew, had gone to this spot to go kind of scout it out. They didn't have any, they weren't expecting a lot of activity, cryptid activity or whatever. They were just going to go camping. And they hiked in, and I got a message from him when he got back. He was like, we had something really crazy happen. As they got in there, it was just a regular camping trip. They hiked in just like we did this past week. They set up camp. They all turned in for the night. They went to bed. They each got in their tents and their hammocks. And around 11 o'clock that night, they started hearing huffs. And they were hearing something walking on 2 feet. And it was circling the camp. And it started growling and huffing and whooping, making all these noises. I don't know if they said it was whooping because they thought it was actually a dogman. They thought it was several dogmen. And they said it was, and these guys are former military, okay, bounty hunters, you know, like tough guys, super tough. And they said that they actually ended up sitting up because they hiked so far into the woods they couldn't leave. Okay, they were like sitting ducks out there. They didn't have a lot of weapons on them that weekend, and so they sat back to back with their handguns and were each facing outward, waiting to be attacked. And the dad said that he didn't think that they were going to make it out alive. He didn't know. they were going to make it out of there. And they stayed up until, I think they stayed up till the sun came up. Okay. And then they quickly packed up and left. Yeah, there's nothing like watching that sun come up. Okay. When you're up and you can't sleep and something's stalking you at night. It feels good for the sun to come up because the activity usually ceases when the sun comes up.
Definitely. It's so creepy, these creatures of the night.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, yeah, I can imagine you can be only so happy when that sun comes up. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So we decided, we're like, well, let's take a trip out there. Okay, let's get a trip. We're gonna go out there. We'll be a reinforcements, for them. And so our buddy, his dad, they went.
So do you want me to show the pictures? You must just shout, yeah?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but I'm sending you a couple of pictures. The guys, there were only 5 of us that went.
Okay, wait, hang on. Here's the first one. Okay, that's
well, okay, so I got to get into this too. So when we first got there to the area that we were going to be investigating, we had our vehicles there. We parked our cars. We were getting our gear together. We had just gotten there, and this gentleman comes walking out of the woods, and he's a hiker. Okay, because this is public land actually. Okay, and he's a hiker, and he's holding that stone right there. And I hear him talking to the fellas, and he said, "Hey, are y'all familiar with dragons?" And the guys were not they were like, "Oh yeah, dragons, okay, dragons," and they weren't really engaging with the guy as much as it piqued my interest when I heard him say dragons. And I said, "I know about dragons," and I walked over there to him, and he said, "Well, are you familiar with petrified dragons and petrified giants?" And I was like, "Of course I am. Of course, I talk about them all the time." And you can see he has a brush in his hand right here. He's holding this piece of stone. He has a brush in his hand. He said, "Well, I've been coming out here for a while, and there's a petrified dragon on this trail right here." He said, "You go in," and he told us where it was. He said, "Are you familiar with Mud Fossil University?" That is a YouTube channel that I watch. There's a gentleman that has been exposing these mud fossils for a while, for at least a few years now. I'm kind of new to the mud fossils over the past year or two. I'd never seen one in real life. And this guy said, "Well, here, I've been cleaning this thing up. I've been examining it. I come back and I visit it every now and then." He said, "This is a petrified dragon, in my opinion, and this is part of its wing." He said he had taken part of the wing to take home with him. And I'm not sure if he was going to have it examined or tested, sampled. But he was pretty proud of it, and I was super stoked. I actually gave him my card. I was like, "Please get in touch with me."
Wow.
And so he actually told us where it was, and when we finally got our gear together, we were hiking in, and he had gone back to it to go clean it off some more. And so when we got there, I didn't have my phone with me. I thought I'd left it in my truck, so I didn't get any pictures when we first were passing it. But he was sitting on top of it, brushing it and stuff, like trying to clean it off a little bit. And he showed it to us. And sure enough, this thing was huge. And it actually was just like a hill or a side of a mountain, kind of like the side of a hill. And you could see its head and then its body length. And then about right around the neck area, below the neck area, there was a wing that went down over the trail that we walked on. And so the wing kind of draped over the side of the hill and went down over the trail down the hill farther. And that was a piece of what he considered to be the wing. And it certainly looked that way. It did look like it. And then when you were walking, you could see the back of the dragon and then the tail, and it looked exactly like a dragon would be, like if a dragon had just landed there, all the way to the tip of its tail.
That's incredible. Wow.
Yes.
And did he find it on his own, or was it sort of something that people had seen there before? Was it his discovery?
He discovered it. He discovered
Wow.
it. Yes, because I'd never heard of this before. And the guys, and none of us are actually from this area. Okay, I'm from Georgia, and those guys are from Tennessee. And so we're out there. I had never heard anything about this. And so it's not, that's why I'm hesitant I'm not going to give the location away, because we're going to go back for more research there. But it's somewhere in Alabama. Okay. And the implications of this, okay, now, if there were real dragons that roamed this earth, which I believe there were, okay, I believe dragons are real. I think they're still here too, okay, but this has implications right here, okay. We have dragons in Alabama, and we've got one, and it was really odd because, well, first of all, I thought, as soon as he showed us that, I thought, oh man, I was like, this is going to be the best trip ever. Like, we've already got a guy hiking out of the woods with a dragon wing. Like, what the heck? And then we're going to go in here looking for DOGMAN. Like, I couldn't ask for a better trip. So,
well, I'm just seeing as well. Caleb was saying early on in the conversation that he was hunting these things, whatever they were, in the caves. I'm going to get you and Caleb on one show together. That's for sure.
I would love that.
Yeah, Caleb. Caleb, you've been commissioned.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I think that'll be so cool. Hmm?
I said, let's do it. I'm down.
Yeah, I agree. Caleb, we've already booked your time, so it is done. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to show you. Are we done with this pic?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I actually did a show on the dragons this past week on Saturday night, so you guys can go watch the show I did on dragons, where we've gotten to detail about the dragons. But this is our camp. Okay, so this is what I call a Bigfoot burrito.
That is so cool. I love it. That looks like a real crap weekend you had.
It was roughing it. Okay, it was roughing it, but I did manage to put a battery powered fan in my backpack. Okay, it was heavy, but I took it and I needed it, and it saved my life. Okay, so but yeah, we're out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, literally, there's nobody out there. Yeah. So I have a hammock underneath that tarp right there. That's my tent tarp.
Are there mosquitoes? Did the mosquitoes just about carry you away?
We all had on bug spray. I had more ticks on me. I actually had ticks when I got home. I scrubbed myself down in the shower, and I had like 5 ticks that fell off of my body, and then I shampooed my hair real good, and when I was going to bed, a tick crawled out of my hair onto my forehead. Okay, so like there's so many ticks in these woods, and I think they fall from the sky on my head. I mean, that's all I can think. Yeah. So
it's raining.
Yeah, it's raining ticks. We all had bugs all over us and stuff.
Anything possible in the jungle of Alabama, right?
Yeah. Listen, it's not pretty what I do. It's not pretty. We are dirty. We're nasty. We stink. We have bugs all over us. We're covered in mud, and we're sitting out there listening and expecting DOGMAN to show up. Okay, and that's like a whole group of them.
Okay, well, there's what. Here's the other one.
Yeah, those are the guys right there.
Amongst all the guys, look at you. Did you have a nice weekend?
It was cool. It was during the week, actually. Most of the guys had the week off work because it was a holiday here, and so that's why we chose this week to go. But yeah, that's my crew right there that we went with. Now the 2 gentlemen on the far right, that's Brian, his dad. Those are the 2 guys, 2 of them who had the original experience out there.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So we came out there and did an full out investigation with them. Yeah. So yeah, that's the crew, and I was in safe hands. Okay, like they're in safe hands with me. I was in safe hands with them. Yeah,
I think
we know each other. Yeah,
I think that is so incredible what you guys are doing. I mean, that really, really, really is. So wow. So you came across the petrified dragon, right? That's incredible.
I can't say 100% for sure, but it sure did look that way, and it was pretty amazing. Okay, and the fact that I mean, nothing happens out of coincidence. Okay, there's a reason that I saw that. There's a reason that random man hiked out of the woods right when we were getting there and said, "Do y'all know about dragons?" I mean, for whatever reason, I do believe it's time. I mean, it's time to start talking about these things, and these things happen to me so that I can come on my shows and speak publicly about it. Because it is wild. And if those other guys hadn't been there and I hadn't taken pictures of it, I don't think people would even believe me. Okay, about this dragon.
Well, yes, I'm just laughing at Stacey. She'll go with you and all the boys. I will go with you and these men.
Okay.
Stacey.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's yes. Listen, I know. They're okay.
You should let the girls know when you're going on another one.
Oh my God. Listen, here's the thing about that though, y'all. Okay, so we're stinky. Okay, we're stinky, we're gross. It's not the condition. I don't care what I become one of the boys out there, okay, is what it is. It's just like you have to let your ego out the door because it's going to be gross, okay, out there in the woods. Hanging out with those fellas. But it's like I said, it's fun. It's not for everybody. It's not. It takes a special kind of person to go sleep in a hammock, vulnerable with dogmen running around you at night. And Bigfoots. But
you actually hear them walk though. I mean,
oh yeah, we have night vision and stuff too.
Like a dog or anything walking, so you don't really know what's walking. They don't have any specific sounds or the way they do things, right?
It depends. Yeah, it depends. Sometimes they do. A lot of times they're silent. Bigfoot has a way of being silent. Yet you hear them when they want you to hear them, kind of. I know that sounds odd, but it's true. They're not going to let you know they're there unless they want you to know they're there. So they were wanting us to know they were there, but it's usually if that happens, it's usually the juveniles, the smaller ones that will mess with you. And the footprint that we found the next day was a smaller footprint, but it had the toe indentions. You know, because you got to also think there's like feral people in the woods too and stuff. So those weren't feral people we were dealing with out there, though. It was definitely Bigfoot activity. They were whooping that night. Now, I ended up going to sleep at some point. And the guys, some of them stayed up. They were taking shifts, kind of like staying up and then keeping watch because we needed to have somebody to keep watch. So 2 of them would go to sleep and then 2 of them would sleep. And I pretty much just went to bed whenever I felt like it. I was like, I'm just going to go to sleep. The cicadas or whatever, the crickets and the frogs were so loud out there. I knew that if there was any like anomalous activity, it would wake me up. Because when the crickets and everything are really loud, if something's like a predator is coming around, they get quiet. And that would have woken me up. I'm pretty sure. The guys would have waken me up. But the bugs never quit chirping all night. But there was something out there. They were hearing whoops. Okay, at least two good whoops, and that's where we found the footprint was in that exact direction the next day. But yeah, it just sounds like humans walking, kind of. I mean, because it's bipedal, it's just footsteps. You don't know if it's a person or a Bigfoot or a dogman. They all sound alike in the woods. I mean, here's the thing. Even small animals sound like elephants running through the woods at night.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, squirrels and raccoons and possums and armadillos. That's what we have down here in the South. And it can sound like a herd of elephants sometimes. So we have to know what animals are out there. We have to know our environment. We have to know all the threats. You know, cats are pretty quiet. If a big cat came up on us, like a panther, a cougar, a mountain lion.
You don't see them.
Yeah, they'll hop from tree to tree too.
Yeah, it's like the leopards.
Yeah, so
yeah, stories have been told, about the guys sitting, on the grass or walking around. They look up and they're the leopards sitting in the tree, looking down at them.
That's a real threat. So you have to really keep. We always have to look up. Also, dogmen like to hang out in the trees, and Bigfoot sometimes. There are several types of Bigfoot, from what I've been told, that are. I think the word is arboreal. Arboreal, I think is the word. They stay in the trees. Okay, so they're up in the trees a lot. So that's pretty quiet. You're not going to hear those if they're jumping from tree to tree, you will. Okay, but Yeah.
But if they don't want you to hear, if they don't want you to hear them, they won't let you.
Exactly.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, what an incredible, incredible, incredible weekend that you have, that
Yeah.
you've had. Yeah. Wow, Jessica, that's amazing.
It was fun. I think
And
the
it's
ticks are gone. I think I got all of them. My head still itches. Just kidding.
yes, everyone is worried about the ticks in your head. Just
I
get
wash my hair every day.
If there was one that nearly took me out in my life, it was tick bite fever.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Because what happens is it attacks all your internal organs. So just check yourself.
Oh my gosh.
If it is tick bite fever, just get onto an antibiotic very quickly.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think I've been bitten by so many ticks. It's like being immune or something. I'm not saying I'm immune, okay, by any means, but I grew up in the country, and I don't know. I did make sure the ticks were out of my hair. I promise y'all. I promise. They're not in there. I would feel them at this point. Okay, I rub my fingers through my hair all day, every day. All right, so. Yeah, but we have to do tick checks. Okay, that's something I do especially when I take my son. I have a kid, and I take him out in the woods quite a bit. And when we get home, the first thing we do is we do a tick check. We do a tick check before we get in the truck to go home, and then when we get home, we do tick checks. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, I think it's so amazing. So when you're talking about the giants and things as well, were you seeing any of the actual petrified giants there? Were there more?
No. Oh, I don't know. See, because you don't see it if you're not looking for it. And so Drew, one of the guys that was with us, he suggested that next time we take a drone and fly the drone over the trees. Now, the thing about it is that there was a thick canopy of leaves from all the trees out there. We had elephant ears and oak trees and pine trees, all sorts of stuff was out there. All sorts of trees that had a thick canopy, so it was keeping us cool for the most part, as much as it could. But it would prevent us from seeing anything from the top looking down if we were to put a drone up there. So we'll probably wait until the fall, maybe. Of course, by then everything's going to be covered in leaves. But but you can see the outline of it, the topography of whatever's out there. We'd be able to see it. Somebody suggested a LiDAR, I think, scanner. So we'll see. It's just a matter. They're so big. It's like it's hard to see it unless you know what you're looking at and looking for. I think a lot of these petrified giants, like the Titans. I mean, you look at the Sleeping Lady mountain range. Okay. It looks like a giant human. If you go online and look up mud fossils or petrified giants, it's endless. Like there's so many different things, and it's not just
pictures. In fact, when I was just looking through some of the images today of petrified giants, it's unbelievable how many there are. And I always speak about Namibia as well. There's a place called the Moon Valley, and within there is Spitzkoppe, and it's the rock people. You feel this teeny in this desert, and these rocks are, I don't even know. You talk and your voice echoes, right? And they are shaped and formed like animal, like humans, like all sorts of things. It's incredible. These the rock people. It's amazing.
Oh yeah. Well, you show a while back with my friends. I see Dennis in your chat today. Hey Dennis, Hunting the Shadows. He and I did the show on dragons on Saturday night over on my channel, and he's such a wealth of he's got so much knowledge into everything, occult and cryptid and UFO, you name it. He knows, and vampires and demonology and everything. You should have Dennis on your show one day. Okay.
Bring him up, Dennis. Join us.
Yes, let's bring Dennis on one day. Okay.
Yes.
But Dennis, what were we talking about? Oh, I just got sidetracked. Sorry. Okay, the dragons. We're talking about dragons. Types. Okay. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Sometimes I get sidetracked. Forget what I was talking about.
It's fine. I'm just actually looking at what's happening in the chat here.
I know. I started looking down too. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. No, all good. All good. We talked about the dragons. No.
Well, it was
Okay.
definitely about petrified dragons, that's for sure. But oh yeah, okay. So, well, I can talk about the sometimes the dragons are, or it's not just dragons. It's titans. I don't know. God dang, I forgot what I was saying. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry. I had a senior moment. I had a senior moment. Okay. Senior moment.
I have them often. I have them very, very often. So don't worry.
Oh, I got it. I remember now. Okay, so Dennis and William Nighthawk, a good friend. Okay, they both have their own YouTube channels. They came on my show at Spaced Out Radio. We were talking about petrified giants, and we were looking at pictures of what looked like Bigfoots. Okay, like Bigfoots and sitting in a chair, like sitting in a throne or something. And what's really odd is like a lot of these petrified giants, they look as though they're looking at the sun or they're looking up. So
always up. Yes.
Yeah, it's almost as though they're all like, you hear of a rock face, right, on the side of the mountain. Sometimes it's an actual face made out of rocks, and they're all looking towards the sun. I guess this is the sun setting. I guess it rises in the east and sets in the west. Okay, so it wouldn't be if it's north face. But they're all looking kind of in the same direction, like looking up to the sky, and which is really weird, because it's like, well, how did these people, if these are people and animals, how did they all get petrified like that? Did something happen really quickly to where there was an event in the sky, it came down, something happened, and it turned them all, they froze. Okay, I mean, I don't know the science behind all this, but I do know that I did a remote viewing target. It was a blind coordinate remote viewing target of the UFO that turned 23 Russian soldiers to stone. Okay, a UFO, this happened back in the 90s, I think. And I think it happened in the Ukraine. And there were 25 soldiers. They shot down a UFO. And when the UFO crashed, they hit it with like a missile launcher or something. And so when the UFO crashed, 5 ETs got out of it, and they formed into an orb. They were like light beings. They formed into an orb, and as they formed into an orb, 2 people took cover behind something. 23 of them were blasted out with some kind of energy force, and it turned them all to stone. Literally, there's a declassified document with the CIA, with the KGB was a part of this, of course, and I have the document. Okay, you can find it online, but it's a document saying this really happened. It details everything that happened to them. So they were petrified. They called them petrified soldiers. Okay, so what if there's some kind of technology that turned all of these things to stone?
The same thing. Because if that, I mean, to turn something to stone and petrify something in its natural sort of state is going to take thousands of years, right? Yeah. But if these, I mean, is that the same story we were speaking about a few weeks ago, right? Yes, when the Russian soldiers were shooting at a UFO or something, and then they, right? Yeah, that would for sure be technology that they can do that. I mean, it would seem obvious that they can then, but I mean, I would never have imagined that they have it, but it would, I mean, why not? They've got everything else.
Well, the U.S. military has technology. They call it Medusa technology, I think, or something. And I think it's more for spying. They put it on like airplanes and stuff to spy on people, or some kind of, what do you call it? It's like where it's basically spyware or something. I don't know. They're over there like filming stuff and spying. Okay, I don't know what better term to say, but it's called Medusa, I think. And so what does Medusa do? She was a woman who'd been turned into like a reptilian or reptoid, right?
With snakes coming out of her head, and she's very pissed off.
And she turned people to stone when they looked at her. Okay, so yeah.
Now, there's a connection there that we've got to start. We got to sneak a peek at, because it is. I mean, because Medusa represents for sure the dark side of femininity, right? I mean, a woman in her, or the female energy in its negative polarity, right? And of course, as you say, slithers around at the speed of light, has snakes coming out of her head, looks like a mad woman, and yeah.
Cursed. She was cursed, right?
Yeah, she would have had to have been cursed. So it makes me wonder then if that would, I mean, if anyone knows about anything like that, that would be super interesting, actually. If there is technology that literally turns people into stone if you shoot them.
Well, the ETs had it, obviously. I mean, if that happened, I'll send you that document if you want to see it. I mean, you can find it online.
Yeah, please do. Please send
it.
I mean, that's like super cool, actually. I want to know, how did they turn these people into stone? Like, what is it? It must be some kind of alchemy, right? It must be some kind of transmutation of sorts. So it must be, I don't know, Caleb, is this transmutation? Would that be transmutation? We've just done all the levels of magic. And I think that sounds a bit like transmutation to me.
When their bodies were actually, of course, their bodies were examined, and the report said they had turned to sandstone, I think is what they said. But they went from being human flesh and bone and blood to being like a sandstone or limestone. I think it was sandstone like makeup. I mean, their body completely changed, the makeup of their body.
Wow.
In an instant, a blink of an eye. And there were 2 witnesses because those 2 guys had ducked behind. They took cover, and the blast didn't hit them directly. So it was like a directed energy weapon.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Yeah. I'd be very interested to know what that's about. Changing the molecular makeup of the organic solidifies it. Yeah. Wow. That would be very interesting, actually, topic to discuss. Is like, with that, because that's just crazy. I mean, and of course, then there's the Bible story about, is it Ruth?
Yeah.
Yeah. That turns around and freezes it and turns into a salt pillar.
Oh, well, you know what? Well, some people are making that connection with Himalayan salt. And they say, Himalayan is like a man laying down, like he's a laying, like Himalayan. Yes. And the salt is actually the fat off of the Titans, the giants.
Yes, I've seen that, and somebody actually sent me pictures. But I mean, any picture can be doctored, so I wouldn't really believe the pictures too much. But I know there's big rumors that our Himalayan pink salt is petrified giants. They've got really shit karma. If it's their karma now that I've got to be munching them and rinsing my nostrils with them every morning, rinsing my sinuses with the giants.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain stones, there's the petrified wood, and there's certain stones that look like bacon, okay, like fat and meat makeup, but it's like crystallized, okay. I mean, I might be wearing crystallized bracelets of giant fat. I don't know, giant meat.
Muscle. They prefer to call it muscle. You're wearing giant's muscle.
Giant meat, giant muscles, yes. But I mean, everything in this world is not what we've been told. It's not what we've been told.
I think the only thing that might be true is that you can pinch yourself, it hurts. That's probably the only thing that's true, right? I mean, we've been lied to for sure. I mean, everything is a lie. Everything is a lie.
Yeah, wow. That's what got me into the cryptid research, and to getting out in the field. It was wanting to see things for myself. Okay, I'd always believed in cryptids, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster. I had been seeing ghosts when I was a kid. I knew there was there's more to this world. I knew it, but I wanted to see for myself. So I had, I just don't have that fear that a lot of people have of something eating me so much, I want to go out there and experience it. And when I first started, I was like, well, if I do get eaten by something, at least I know that Bigfoot's real. I know that was the mindset that I had. I think that's kind of the mindset a lot of people you have to have if you're going to do the stuff that I do. Now I don't want Bigfoot to eat me. Okay, I really don't. I have a kid now, so I think differently about it.
No, I don't want to be munched by anything. I definitely don't want to be munched or choked by anything. No thanks.
Right. I don't know.
die peacefully in my sleep one day and then put myself on the top of the hill so the vultures can eat me. That's how I want to go. I don't want to be burnt and I don't want to be buried. Oh no, can you imagine being burnt or buried?
Oh, no, I know. Well, once you pass on, it doesn't matter.
No, but no, I don't want either of those.
But you want vultures to eat you? What the heck?
Yes, there's a way that they do it. And actually people don't like to be buried, so they like to be put on the top of the mountain, and then the birds eat them.
Wow, well, nothing is wasted, right? Nothing is wasted.
I don't want to be it's either the birds or the worms, because if you're underneath the ground, the worms are going to eat you. That's just disgusting.
That's true. That's true. I don't know. It's not going to matter to me once I'm gone. Do what you want. Make a tree out of me. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Let me look like a pretty peach tree.
You'll eat my fruit for generations.
Exactly. And I'm going to give you the sweetest, juiciest peaches, and you're going to know it's me.
Y'all are going to love them apples. I'm just saying.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, what a yet another fantastic show with you. Wow, that was so cool and so fun. Thank you, Jessica. I definitely have you on in 2 weeks' time again. And I'm going to really want to get you and Caleb on together, because I think that'll be such an interesting show. And the hunter, the one here, the shadow hunter. The one in the chat.
Dennis. Yes, Dennis Carroll. Yes, he's got a YouTube channel called Hunting the Shadows. He comes on my show a lot. Yeah. Yeah,
that's so cool. Definitely have you guys on. It'll be so fun. So sound like I'm biting my tongue. But so thank you so much, Jessica. As always, it's absolutely wonderful to have you and have you sharing all your cool adventures with us here. I can't wait. You're going to see me just arrive at your house one day and say, "Come, we're going."
Come on, then. Come on. Find a portal. Teleport.
Let's go.
I'll take you.
I'm still looking for them. Still searching.
Well, I don't know. Well, thank you for having me again. It's always fun. Have a great time.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Is there anything else you want to say in closing, just before we end off?
Oh no, everybody, y'all stay safe out there, and keep an eye out for these petrified giants and dragons and stuff, because there just might be, and I've been watching videos on TikTok. My trusted news source. I'm just kidding. It's not trusted news source, but I've been watching videos of people uncovering dragons in their backyards, and it's stuff that they've seen for years. They didn't know. They never thought to even look at that as a dragon. So it's all about changing our perspective and actually looking for things now. Okay, looking for anomalies out there. So yeah, if you guys want to learn more about the dragons that I discussed on Saturday, go to my YouTube channel. It's called The Cryptid Huntress, and you can find me on my website, thecryptidhuntress.com.
Well, I'd definitely like to hear more about the dragons as well. So maybe we can chat a little bit more about that as well the next time we see you. But yeah, thank you so much. Okay, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I shall see you all tomorrow for Jessie. We've got one show with Jessie at 3:30. So that's 9:30, I think, Eastern time. See, I'm learning what your time zones are. And then Bryce afterwards. So look forward to seeing you all back there in the chats, and have a I was still trying to say goodbye to you all, and I was about to say have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful evening, beautiful day, wherever in the world you are. And then I cut myself off. So, yay, everybody. God bless. See you soon.
Oh, yeah. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Okay.
Okay, bye.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, bye.